Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to talk more about Cannon Storm, the new event in Last War. I have made a video about this before when it was released on Last War's Discord page. Now since then, it had been released on some of the earlier servers and they have been able to play the event. But about, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, Cannon Storm has now actually been released on my server. And for those who don't know, I'm in server 685. Alright, so with Cannon Storm, you can access this event the same with like Desert Storm under the Events tab. And then you'll notice the new tab, Cannon Storm Battlefield. And first thing you'll see is the layout of the actual event. So it is very similar to Desert Storm, but the best way I would describe Cannon Storm without even playing it, but from just what I've seen and read, it's pretty much like Desert Storm but on steroids. So first things first, when you click on this tab, you'll see the layout, right? They've got all these different structures which actually you can click on and they will give you like a brief sort of summary of what it is, but I'll go through that when I show you the rules of this event. So on this page, so just like Desert Storm, you have the logs. So, you know, this will actually tell you like who organized what, who sent which player to which team, etc, etc. And of course, they made an update recently where not only in Cannon Storm, but also in Desert Storm, if the system makes a change, it will say system and it won't say like some person's name like it used to. So with the Cannon Storm, if you didn't watch my previous video, about, you know, kind of the breakdown of Cannon Storm, I'll just quickly go over it again. You'll have actually two factions in Cannon Storm. You have the Apollo faction and the Dionysus faction. So the Apollo faction is only going to be one alliance, whereas the Dionysus faction, as you can see below, will be divided into two alliances. So it's essentially two alliances versus one alliance, and that's why you can see this icon in the top left hand corner saying 2 versus 1. So because the Apollo faction is already at a disadvantage for the fact that it will only have one alliance and it's going up against two alliances, they'll get some sort of benefits and skills that you wouldn't get in the Dionysus faction. So my sort of prediction with this, you could say maybe matchmaking, is the Apollo faction is definitely going to be some kind of elite alliance, so with a lot of strong and powerful players, probably a lot of whales, whereas the Dionysus faction is probably going to be sort of medium powered alliances. You know, that's what my prediction is. I mean, you can select which faction you want to join, but the thing is, apparently the game will still decide on the final matchmaking if necessary, from what I've read at least. It might change. And like I said, I haven't played this event yet because it's only going to start next week, Friday, on my server. But this interface has been released, so at least we can take a look at a few things before then. So apart from the factions, you'll see just like in Desert Storm, you've got Team A and Team B. So you can decide which team you want to join. Now, when you first see this event on your server, you'll see there will be a button that says register. When you click on that, you can then decide to register for Team A or Team B. And then as you can see, for Team A, we already have 30 total participants, right? You click on manage, you can have a look at that. And so it's essentially 20 active players and 10 substitutes, just like that. So pretty much like Desert Storm, nothing really different there. And there's also this, the request to battle button. When you first click on register on whichever team you choose, you'll then be able to click on request to battle, and then you can request to battle for that team, similar to Desert Storm, or you can also request to change the faction. We decided to go for Dionysus because if we have to compare ourselves to other alliances in our server, you could probably call us a medium powered alliance, and compared to other servers, probably the same, depending obviously on which alliance we're going up against. And as you can see, even Team B has still 30 participants, and even if you go to manage, you'll still be able to see you know, who's part of Team B as well, as you can see. So that is very cool. And let's just go over the rules quickly now. So I'll just give a quick sort of breakdown. So it works just like Desert Storm. So you have to go ahead and, capture the structures to earn battle points. And at the end of the event, the team or the alliance that has the most battle points will win. So going over just this sort of summary, I'll just quickly read out some of it, maybe not all of it, but deep within a desolate cannon, a long hidden viral research facility of the Doom Legion has been exposed. This is the birthplace of Patient Zero and the virus that once plunged the world into chaos. Now, fragments of forbidden data, viral samples, and advanced weapon technology have resurfaced, drawing the gaze of powerful forces once again. And this has sparked a fierce response from two rival factions, Apollo, which are the defenders of discipline and control, and then Dionysus, which is a coalition of free fighters and survivors who believe the only way to rebuild the world is to seize the origin of the virus and harness its secrets. So just like I've already mentioned before, and just like Desert Storm, you'll see there, after entering the battlefield, you can capture various buildings to earn points. At the end of the battlefield timer, the side with the highest points will be determined as the winner. And there's something called a virus lab, which is located in the center of the battlefield. So that's kind of like the same version as like the silo, the nuclear silo from Desert Storm. So when this opens up and you capture it, it will grant a large amount of points. So once again, kind of just like the nuclear silo. The Apollo faction has gained control over the safe zone on the battlefield. And if they capture the power tower, Apollo players in the safe zone will be immune to attacks. So that is quite interesting. And once you're into the battlefield, the highest level units you have will fill the drill ground. So just like Desert Storm, the soldiers won't die, they won't like disappear. Pretty much once the event is done, your same drill ground will remain the same. So that's pretty cool. So just like Desert Storm, R4s or R5s can decide on the starting players and substitutes. You can assign up to 20 starting players and 10 substitutes, just like I mentioned before. To enter the battlefield, you need to meet these three conditions. So you must either be a starting player or substitution, belong to the registered alliance, and your base cannot be on contaminated land near the capital. And this event is broken down into battle stages. So you've got the prep stage, of course, where you'll go ahead and enter the battle, the spawn area, and you'll be marked as blue and the enemy in red, just like Desert Storm, and you can't be attacked in the spawn area. Then stage 1, you'll be able to capture data centers, sample warehouses, and power towers to earn battlefield points. In stage 2, you can capture the serum factories to gain more battlefield points and troop buffs. Power stations will also appear randomly on the map. You can also gather them to earn points. And then stage 3, you can capture the virus lab and defend systems. Capturing virus labs grants a large amount of points, and if you capture the defense system, this will allow you to attack enemies inside core buildings. And of course, the side with the most points wins. And it says here as well that captured buildings will generate points that exceed their storage capacity after a period. Attacking and capturing these buildings lets you pick up these additional points. So like I said, very similar to Desert Storm Battlefield, but just on steroids. And these are the different structures you got. So you got the data center. So these are positioned close to the Apollo faction spawn area, and there's 2 in total. You'll get 25 points per second if you capture that one. And then you have the sample warehouse, positioned also close, but this time to the Dionysus faction spawn area. There's 4 in total, and you'll get 20 points per second. And then you have the power tower. So like it was mentioned before, if the Apollo faction captures a power tower, they can activate the shield over the central safe zone, which means to say that any base inside it is immune to attacks. As well as this, the power tower generates battlefield points, making it a highly strategic objective. And it's quite a lot of points. It's 40 points per second. So who's ever going to choose the Apollo faction would probably definitely prioritize this power tower. And then of course you got the virus lab, which is in the middle. This will become accessible shortly after the battle begins. And if you capture it, you can get a large amount of points, so 100 per second. So that's going to yield you the most points out of all the structures. And then you've also got a defense system structure. This will also become active shortly after the battle begins. And once you capture this, it'll automatically attack all core zone buildings captured by the enemy, including the virus lab, serum factory, defense system, and power tower, dealing damage to any garrison troops. So this kind of sounds like in Winter Storm, you know how when you captured some of those buildings, it'll shoot like the missiles at the other buildings. That's kind of what it sounds like. And with this one, you get 20 points per second if you capture it. Then you have the serum factory. This is also going to become available shortly after the battle begins. And at regular intervals, it will grant a buff to the commander who controls it. The buff effect will be announced in advance. So that's quite interesting. That's something different. And that also yields 20 points per second. And then you have the power station. So you can use idle troops to gather from these scattered power stations for points. And you've also got this point supply box. So occupied buildings will generate points over time, even beyond their storage limits. Defeat these buildings to plunder the excess battlefield points. So there's quite a lot of different structures going on in this event, quite a lot of new ones, and sort of new mechanics as well. And then for the skills, now this is a completely new thing. You won't really find this in Desert Storm, at least not the way it's set up in this event. So you have the seismic tower, which is exclusive to the Apollo faction. What it does is the base will transform and teleport, right? And once the base teleports and lands in the area, it'll deal 1000 durability damage to any surrounding enemy bases. That is quite a lot, actually, if you think about it, just for like a passive skill just to deal that much damage. And what it says as well, after relocation, it continues to deal 300 durability damage and further inflicts 60 critical injuries on enemy units every 3 seconds. So that sounds like a very powerful skill, and I'll just show you this in what it looks like actually in the game. So as you can see, you teleport, you land, and immediately you'll do that durability damage at the start of 1000. So let's watch it again. You see it lands, immediately 1000 durability is done, and then you've got 60, and then it goes to 60 troops damage. So that is a pretty powerful skill, and it will definitely make for an interesting battle. So that is pretty cool. Alright, and it says duration, it lasts for 30 seconds. Consumption is saying, what is that, 500,000. Cooldown is 300 seconds. To be honest, I'm not really sure what they mean by consumption being 500,000. I'm not 100% sure. If anyone who's played this event knows exactly what that is, just please let me know in the comments. And then you've got a field hospital. Now this skill is universal for both factions, so you don't really need to be in the Apollo or Dionysus faction to have this exclusive to you. You can be on any faction. And what happens is with this skill, when you teleport, after relocation, it will heal 150 wounded units and restores 300 durability to the surrounding allies' bases every 3 seconds. So if we look at this skill in action, you'll land, and then you'll see that you'll start healing those troops. And now that is also a pretty cool skill to have. And this one will so it happens every 3 seconds, so that's quite quite often, and it goes for 30 seconds as well. It's got the same consumption as the previous skill and same cooldown, so that's the same. And another skill here is the artillery turret. So this is exclusive to the Dionysus faction. So your base will transform, it'll teleport of course. For every 2 seconds after that, it deals 300 durability damage to the nearest enemy base within the attack range, and further inflicts 60 critical injuries on enemy units every 2 seconds. So let's have a look at this one in action. So fires off the missile, and you can see 300 durability damage, but also kills 60 troops. So that's pretty cool because that means it's killing, 60 troops every 2 seconds. I think it said plus 300 durability damage. So that is quite a cool skill, and it's exclusive to the Dionysus faction. So it does look like each faction is going to have their own exclusive skills. So that's pretty cool as well. So this one is exclusive to the Dionysus faction, and then you got the Seismic Tower, which is exclusive to the Apollo faction. But this Field Hospital is a universal skill, so any faction can have it. Now we got another skill, which is actually the last one, called Judgment Day. Now this is actually an exclusive skill. It's exclusive to the Juricator in the Apollo faction. Now I obviously haven't played this event yet, but I'm pretty sure the Juricator is someone, can be like assigned to someone from that faction. But I'll let you know if that changes once I play the event. But so once again, when you go ahead and teleport, while the skill is active, each successful teleport will deal 5,000 durability damage to the enemy bases within a large surrounding area. That is a crazy skill to have. Like, think about that, 5,000 durability damage. That's a lot. And it says here, each time an enemy base is blasted away, the teleport cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds. So that's an even like greater benefit. So that's insane. This is definitely the most powerful skill in this game. But because it is assigned to the Apollo faction, it does mean that if you choose the Apollo faction, you're gonna go up against 2 alliances. So you got to be prepared for that. So that's obviously why they've made this skill so powerful. So it makes for an interesting battle, because on one end you'll have these powerful skills, but on the other end you're outnumbered. So the question is, are you going to be able to last long enough to hold off against 2 alliances even with these skills? That's the question. But as I said, I'm going to record when I do my first battle as part of the Dionysus faction, and we'll see how it goes. And so, as well as this, the enemy commander whose base is blasted away will have their teleport cooldown increased by 60 seconds. Wow. So this skill is amazing. It has so many benefits, so many buffs. That's pretty cool. Now this one, duration is actually for 120 seconds, so it goes for a lot longer than the other skills. It's got a higher consumption though, and cooldown is the same, so very interesting. And then there's a few other, I guess, like rules, so to speak. So I'll just go over them quickly. So participation is limited to the top 32 power ranked alliances. Only commanders with bases over level 15 are eligible. The alliance has been established for 7 days or more, so that's another requirement. And registration becomes available 24 hours after joining an alliance. So keep that in mind as well if you're planning to switch between alliances during the off season. And there's some special rules. So in the battle, contributions in all aspects grants individual points, which can be used to charge your personal skills. You'll get, okay, maybe this is that thing where I was talking about the consumption. Maybe it's from this individual points. So it says, because it says which can be used to charge your personal skills. You get 1 free teleport opportunity every once in a while, followed by a cooldown, which is the same as Desert Storm. Teleporting is suspended during cooldown. Units won't suffer casualties in this battle. They will be sent to the hospital with unlimited capacity. All units will fully recover after the battle. Commanders who leave the battlefield can't re-enter for a certain period of time. Temporary exits don't have a wait time. When you enter the battlefield, your highest level units automatically fill the separate drill ground. They won't show up in your base's drill ground and won't leave the battlefield after the fight. All boosts from tech, VIP level, base skins, titles, decorations, and drones work in battle. So, this mention of points being used to charge up personal skills, that surely must mean this consumption, right? That must mean what it actually is. Like, you're consuming your skill points to actually activate the skill. But let me know if I'm wrong for those who have actually played the event. Okay, so moving on from the rules, going into the rewards. So there's a few different rewards you can get and a few different criteria. So we'll look at the Apollo faction first. So with the battle points for the individual ranking, if you defeat enemies, you can get a maximum of 22 points for every level 10 unit killed from the enemy faction. So that's the highest points you can get for killing a unit from the enemy faction. And then you can also get points for healing wounded units. So if you heal a level 10 unit, you can get maximum of 11 points. And also for units critically injured, for a level 10 unit critically injured, you can also get 11 points maximum. So if you look at this reward table, you can see if you're number 1, you'll be able to get these alliance contribution points and these drone boost XP cards, the overlord supply chest. This is the super rare, not the ultra rare. And then you can get some honor points, 10,000. So that's pretty good. That's enough to get you one blueprint, legendary blueprint. And then you can see the rewards for 2 to 3, still pretty decent, still not too bad. 4 to 10, that's still okay. And then 11 to 20. So all these rewards are actually not too bad. So that's pretty cool. So let me just quickly take a look at then the assistance. So you'll also gain points for gathering one faction point by occupying a power plant. So if you occupy a power plant, you get that 100 points there. And you can, if you restore 1 point of base durability, you can get plus 50 points. And if you collect one faction point by collecting excess battlefield points, you'll get those points there as well. So once again, if you're ranked number 1, you'll get some resources. Nothing too fancy with this one. And even 2 to 3 and 4 to 10. So these are pretty standard rewards, nothing too crazy. And then for the strategy, so you can get points for destroying base durability. So 1 point of base durability plus 5 points. And garrison the building for 1 second plus 500 points. And those are the rewards you can get. So pretty much the same as the assistance points. Okay, so this is your individual ranking rewards, okay? Let's move over to the individual points. So pretty much the same as Desert Storm, this one. If you get 500,000 points, you can get the maximum rewards. These are pretty decent, especially because you can get the 10,000 honor medals. So you can use that for those blueprints. So that's cool. And then you got the battle results. So if you've chosen to enable Team A and Team B, and you do win the event, you can get these rewards. So decoration chest, skill chip chest, some training certificates for your gorilla, research speed ups, coin chest, and some more honor points. So that's pretty cool. And even if you do lose the event, you'll still pick up some rewards. So you'll get a decoration chest, a skill chip chest, some training certificates, speed ups, coin chest, and honor points. So you get pretty cool. Now with Desert Storm as well, the rewards are going to be better if you only choose to have Team A participate. So as you can see, you'll get much higher rewards if you compare these two. Instead of getting 20 training certificates, you get 35. And instead of getting 3,000 honor points, you'll be able to get 5,000. So if you are like I guess, an alliance with maybe less active players, you could probably go for just one team. And for Team A, if that's the only participation, you can still get a few more points there. I'm sorry, not points, rewards, which are obviously going to still be better than if you were just doing Team A and Team B. So that's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the Dionysus faction. So just a quick comparison. Obviously, these sort of point systems or ranking system is the same, but the rewards are different. So you'll notice how with number 1 in the Apollo faction, in fact, actually they are the same for that one at least. You'll still get 6 of these alliance contribution points, which is worth 2.5k each, supply chest, and 10k honor points. So that's pretty much the same, but now this is for 1 and 2. So like it's obviously because you have 2 alliances in the Dionysus faction. And then you'll see, let's compare 2 to 3, the second one. Okay, actually it's pretty much the same. So I actually thought it was going to be different, but they're pretty much the same. The reason why I thought it might be different is because in the Apollo faction, you're at a disadvantage because you don't have the numbers, but it looks like it's still the same rewards actually. Let's compare the assistance rewards and see if it's the same. Yep, pretty much the same. What about strategy? Still the same. Okay, so they're actually all the same ranking, like individual ranking rewards. That's not going to change. So I guess that's kind of good. Make it more even. It's just that if you're part of the Apollo faction, like unless you're a really strong alliance, you're definitely going to have a massive disadvantage. So that's going to be interesting. So that is the reward system. And of course, it takes you directly to the honor store. And as I'm sure as most of you would be aware, you should only really spend your honor points on these blueprints. Nothing else. Don't make that mistake. I made that mistake in the beginning. So if you've done that before, doesn't matter. Just make sure going forwards, only get those blueprints. And of course, it's going to show the history, like how many victories you got, losses. So same like Desert Storm. And of course, you can also, registration, I believe it like goes for 2 or 3 days from memory. This started, it was, I think it was either yesterday or the day before. So you have like a couple of days to prepare for the registration. And as well as this, you'll notice how it says My Alliance name there. So once the second alliance joins, you'll see them over there. And then of course, once the alliance from the Apollo faction joins, you'll see that alliance listed there. So obviously we still have 1 day and 18 hours for the registration to end. So players are still going to be registering during this time. Now one other thing I wanted to speak about is the actual timing of this event. So it's going to happen on a Friday night, at least for my server. Thing is though, it says it's starting at midnight, so it goes for 30 minutes just like Desert Storm. But the difference is in Desert Storm, they had like different timings, right? Like different time slots. Whereas so far in this event, there is no time slot. There's only one time that it starts at. And with Team B, interestingly enough, it says the same thing, like it's starting on the exact same day, as you can see, and the exact same time. So that's not going to change. Whereas usually with us in Desert Storm, we would have like Team A starting usually like at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. And then for Team B, they usually start like Saturday morning. So that's going to be interesting. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I guess obviously two teams, Team A and both Team B, will be starting at the same time. So that's going to be very different to Desert Storm. So like I said, when the actual match begins next Friday, I'm going to record everything to show you how the gameplay actually sort of looks like and how it goes. Apart from that, I think I've pretty much mentioned everything that I need to mention. So I just wanted to, like, I know I already made a video about this event when it was posted on Discord, but I actually wanted to show you the actual in-game interface and what it includes. So when this does come on your server, you can kind of be prepared for it and know exactly what to do. But that's the end of this video. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. And also stay tuned for next week Friday, because I will be recording this event when we actually play in the game. So anyway though, I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.